You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
We are about to get started with our Friday review. I'm trying to mix things up each and every Friday. Sometimes I'll bring you book reviews, sometimes some of my favorite products, sometimes my favorite non-toxic products, which we're certainly going to be talking a lot more about with the upcoming launch of my book, which has been too long in the making, but it will be out pretty soon. And the other big thing I want to talk about too is if you're going to spend the money on your health, meaning like if you're going to purchase these types of organic foods or natural nutritional supplements or run a functional medicine lab test, any of these things, I just want to point you in the right direction so that you are spending your money wisely. I really believe that you investing in yourself, you investing in your health will pay dividends, meaning that you'll have more energy, more zest for life, more vitality, which will allow you to be better for your family, better for your friends, better for your job. And you'll actually probably outperform in all of those areas if you're taking care of your body, first from a nutrition standpoint, next from a nutritional supplement, then from sleep, exercise, all of these things. And again, like this is very systematic. This is very straightforward. And each and every Friday, what I want to do is just share with you 52 times per year, all of the different things that I'm using myself personally that I'm recommending to maybe parents of mine, and then also, friends, family in my practice, so that you get the same benefit, the same knowledge. And you can also just see like, okay, does this make sense for you? Does it make sense for you now? Or would it maybe make sense in the future? So we're going to chat about these things now. And today's topic is the 7 supplements to reverse and slow aging. Now, maybe you're in your 20s right now, 30s, 40s, or maybe you just don't feel you are into any type of cognitive decline, meaning like your brain's still working great, your energy's working great, your hormones are great, all of those things are great. And that's fantastic. I think that's excellent. And sometimes we should be thinking about it though before things go bad. I think that's one of the issues with conventional medicine is we wait for it to get broken, wait for it to break, and then we try to fix it through pharmaceutical-based measures, surgery, or whatever else it may be. And of course, hopefully we know by now that is not the route to take. The United States, UK, and other countries like us are not far behind, where, the United States spends more money every year on so-called healthcare that I really call sick care. And we're still ranked 37th in the industrial world in terms of our overall health. So clearly what we're doing right now is not working in the least. So what I want to do is I want to give you an alternative. I always want to make it cost effective for you, but I also want you to always stay focused on what matters the most. So I'm not going to give you 100 supplements that you could use. I'm going to give you 7. And of course, I'm always going to use the 80-20 rule, which I'm going to give you the 20% of these supplements, which will make the biggest difference in your life. And so that's what will give you the 80% of the results. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, I put these in order of importance, and I'm going to explain why as we're going through this. So again, even if this isn't right for you, I believe having this knowledge will help your clients, your patients, or family friends with their aging. And again, like aging really should be a number. I know we're all going to age, but I really believe there's a huge difference between different 60-year-olds, different 70-year-olds in my practice that I see. Even different 40-year-olds. I just know from hanging around with friends and parents in my school, those types of things, and just seeing people, I'm like, okay, this woman's 40 and that woman's 40. This guy's 45, that guy's 45. And wow, the difference is striking. One person is just so much more energetic and young looking and all of those things. And the other people, well, they maybe look like they're at their 45. They maybe look like they're 60, or they have the energy of a 60-year-old or 80-year-old. And again, I don't want to stereotype any age bracket because, again, I work with 60-year-olds. I work with 70-year-olds in my practice that could run circles, like absolute circles around people half their age. Legitimately, 60-year-old people I can think of right now that I'm working with. I can know people who are 30 and they could run circles around them in the gym, in life, in work, all of those things. It's amazing. And I believe, even if you're not there right now, you can get there. Because, I mean, I was that 17-year-old kid where I know for sure my 60-plus-year-old wellness clients right now would run circles around me. There's no doubt in my mind, because my body was literally destroyed from the inside out. And I had to rebuild that. And I did. And I rebuilt it from the ground up. And I hope that you don't have to do that much work yourself. But I'll let you know, even if you're at that level, it can be done. And it will be done as long as you don't give up. That was the big thing. I gave up a lot, but I always went back. I mean, I wasn't perfect for sure. I was discouraged. I was depressed. I was all of those things. But I kept going back. I failed. I fell down. Sometimes I stayed down for a couple of days, weeks, or months. But I always got back up. And I said, okay, this time will be different because of this. And I would just add one more thing to my arsenal, one more thing I would try, one more doctor I would see, one more program I would try, just all of those things. And it was just this stubbornness is really what it was. I was just stubborn. I said, you know what? It's not what I want for my life. I don't know if I'll ever get better, but I'm not going to stop trying. That's the bottom line. And that's all the attitude that I need from anyone to be able to help them take their life to that next level. And so that's what I want for you. And instead of making this a motivation and mindset Monday, let's get into our Friday review. All right. Friday review, bottom line, 7 top supplements you can use right now to reverse and slow aging. And I want to pull it all together at the end as well and also tell you what's down the pipeline, what's coming. So right now, this is the thing. If you're not starting with a good quality functional medicine vitamin and mineral combined, like don't just get the vitamin, get a multi-mineral, okay? So here's the thing. This is really, really important. Why does this matter? Well, I always go by the science, okay? So I look back 6,000 years in Ayurveda, and I look back in traditional Chinese medicine and all the different types of ancient medicine. And I look to modern day science, and I look to all the research. Right now, like bottom line, those who take a multi versus those who don't, we're talking about methylated multi, which I'll talk about in one moment. They typically live an increased lifespan of about 8%. And you might just say to yourself, 8%, well, that's nothing. It's actually not. If the average life expectancy is 78 years old and you live 8% longer, you're living 6.24 years more. That's going to take you to 84 years old versus 78. Again, like I have this mortality complex. There's no doubt about it. I'm very happy to share that. It's the reason why I won't do cliff jumping anymore. I won't do bungee jumping. I won't do all the crazy stuff that I used to. And I just have this mortality complex. Like, I don't want to do anything. Like, I want to live as long as I can, and I want to be healthy as long as I can. And part of that 6 years is big for me. Like, if that's all I need to do to, again, nothing's promised, right? Nothing in life is promised. I understand that. But if it's the difference between seeing my daughter grow and be 50 years old with a family versus, 44, like, that's really important to me. To be able to see maybe grandkids, like that's really important to me. And maybe I'm getting way ahead of myself. I don't know. Like maybe that's not how you think. And I know a lot of people like joke around and make fun of me for that, but I'm already looking at that. Maybe I am playing it too far in the future. But here's the thing. I just know that all the people I work with who really want like the best for themselves at 70, 80 years old always have this regret that they wish they did more sooner. And so if I can live my life and look back 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now and say, I did everything I could. I have no regrets. I'm going to be happy. I really am. If anything ever happens to me, I'm going to say, I have no regrets. I did everything I could. I'm happy. That's the mindset that I want everyone to have. Not everyone is willing to put in the same level of work, and not even as me. Like people do more than me. People don't believe that. They do. Like I still do 1 or 2 cheat meals per week, and I thoroughly enjoy those cheat meals, and I know they're not good for me. I don't want to give them up. I'm not willing to give up those 1 or 2 cheat meals per week. Now, some people are. They're just not willing to do that. And if they're trying to get well, then that's what they should do. I respect that. But when they are well, they still don't. Like they'll never eat a French fry. I will if that's my cheat meal. So that's the difference. Like again, but like I'm okay with that. Again, no regrets. So what is a functional medicine multivitamin? Because again, I'm going to give you, of course, sources. All you have to do is go to stevencabral.com/623. Every supplement I will link up today. The majority of them are not mine. They're other companies. Some are mine. And again, I'm always saying, if a supplement doesn't exist in the marketplace that I need for myself, for family, and for my practice, I create it. That's the only time. It's way too expensive to create them on your own. I'd much rather promote, integrative therapeutics, Thorne, orthomolecular, all these great products. But if they don't make it, then I have to make it. That's the bottom line. But anyway, I always give you third party so that you know that the information you're getting is pure, that it comes from a good place. And these are things, of course, I'm doing myself. All right, so a functional medicine multi just means that you're not getting the cheap stuff from like a BJ's, Costco, CVS, Rite Aid. I always say it, but I'm going to keep saying it. You can't buy your vitamins which is their food, the most important thing you're putting in your body, from the same place that you buy your toilet paper and toothpaste. It makes no sense, right? It just makes absolutely no sense. You can't go for the cheapest brand when it comes to your health. So what you do is you just simply go with a functional medicine multi, which means that your magnesium is bound to something instead of oxide, it's bound to something, or carbonate, it's actually bound to something like lysine or glycinate or any one of the good quality chelated based minerals. Like this is just really, really important. You want your B vitamins to come from a methyl source. So you want them to either say nature folate or you want to say 5-MTHF to come from a natural folate, a methyl folate. These are important. So anyway, I'll link up a bunch of brands and you'll check that out. So why a multivitamin first? And this is the one I'll kind of spend the most time on. You have to get your basic needs met. That's the bottom line. As we get older, our digestive system gets weaker. That means even if we're eating the best foods, we're not able to extract the best nutrition from our food. Remember, it's not what you eat, it's what your cells see. It's not what you eat, it's what your cells see. I don't care if you have the best diet in the world if your digestion is weak. So yes, you could use a digestive enzyme. That's not on my list, but that would help you better break down your food if you're unwilling to do something like a multivitamin or an all-in-one shake, which of course covers a bunch of these things that we'll chat about in a moment. Okay, so love the foundational product. That's number one because it's going to give you the energy and it's going to give you the magnesium, the calcium, the other vitamins like vitamin E, vitamin C. Remember, if you weren't taking a multi, I would have to create a list for you that's like 20 products long. I would have to say you need to take vitamin C for detox. You need to take vitamin E for your cardiovascular system and pulmonary system. You need to take magnesium for your bones, calcium for your bones, for detoxification. For all of these things, they're just very, very important. So that's why the multi, all-in-one shake, is just imperative, absolutely imperative. Okay, next up is a protein shake. Again, this could be your all-in-one shake. It could be something like your daily nutritional support. Or you could find your favorite hemp protein or your favorite whatever. All I'm saying is this, is that you should really get a shake with about 15 grams of protein in it. Why is this important as we age? Here a bunch of different reasons for you. Okay, number one, as we age, we drink less water. It's just that's what the science shows. People start to get chronically dehydrated. That lowers energy, it lowers metabolism, it lowers everything. Your blood, 90% water. Your muscles, 70% water. Like you need water in your body. So the protein shake is obviously add 16 ounces of that. All right, good. You get more water now. Okay. But here's the other thing. You get the amino acids from the protein, which are going to help keep the muscle on your body. Men and women lose about 5 pounds of muscle per decade after the age of about 25 years old. Yes, weight training twice a week will keep that muscle on as best as you can, but you need the protein synthesis, all these things to happen to keep the muscle on your body. We become catabolic as we age. We fall, we break those bones. Our muscles aren't able to support us. Not if you're keeping up with your protein demands, and not if you're getting that water, you're getting your exercise in there twice a week. So vitally important. And that's why I mentioned protein. Again, digestion gets weaker as you age. Stomach acid goes down, which means if you eat the meat or you eat the fish, you don't break it down as well. And if you don't break it down as well, you're not able to absorb it as well. And it causes more gut-based dysfunction. That's why a simple protein shake for breakfast, hands down, my number one recommendation. Or of course, my all-in-one is my number one recommendation. For breakfast, it's easy to digest. You don't give all your energy away. You have a bigger meal once a day, especially as you age, instead of maybe twice a day or 3 times a day. But we'll get into that more in the future. This, of course, won't be the last show on this topic. Okay, next up is omega-3. Now, you can get this from food or you can get it from nutritional supplements. Here's why it's important. Right now, the research is just unbelievable. Now, I know there's some studies back and forth and there's a little bit of controversy, but you have to go with functional medicine products. If you're buying cheap oxidized omega-3, expect it to be worse than your body than not taking it at all. Expect that. Expect pesticide-laden strawberries to be worse for your body than if you didn't eat them at all. Expect that. You're putting bug spray into your body that you can't wash off with strawberries. So again, don't eat strawberries unless they're organic, unless they're not sprayed. Like that's imperative. Don't take fish oil if you're buying it at Costco. Just don't do it. Don't even bother. It's not worth it. It's worse for you. Because it has to be triglyceride bound. It has to be molecularly distilled. It has to be mercury free. It has to be heavy metal free. It has to be non-oxidized. So that's the thing. Like you can't go cheap on these things. And again, what I'm saying is the difference between expensive and cheap is like 30 cents a day. It's not huge, but it is vitally important. And you don't have to do all of these things. You just have to make up in the areas that you might be lacking. That's why these are in order of importance. For example, If you're eating sardines every day, if you're eating anchovies, if you're eating trout, if you're eating salmon, if you get a lot of algae in your diet, chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, you can get a lot of omega-3s in your diet. And what really matters is that you run an omega-3 lab test. I honestly believe the omega-3 lab test will tell you if you're doing a good job in your diet or not. So eat the diet that you want to eat, do that for about a month, and then run your omega-3 test. If you're already eating a good diet, what you consider good, and you're not going to really change, run the omega-3 test. It will tell you if you need a supplement or not. That's what I do in my practice. Like, there's no guesswork. There's no guesswork. People are like, oh, there's no science or whatever to naturopathic medicine. Like, and I'm always like, excuse me, like, you obviously have no idea what naturopathic medicine is because it's more advanced than any other type of medicine in the world. We take the best of conventional medicine lab testing and we mix that with the best of integrating the herbs and the vitamins and the minerals. And we only give nutritional supplements based on what the lab tests say or based on the symptoms. If we believe that these issues exist, such as bacterial overgrowth, candida overgrowth, and someone can't afford the lab test. Like, I mean, there's nothing more advanced. Like, here's the thing. I've talked about before, most underrated lab test. If you run an omega-3 lab test and you're not at a 9% saturation of omega-3s in your blood right now, you don't get the benefit of a 90% risk reduction rate of cardiovascular death. Here's the thing. If you get your omega-3s up to 9% saturation in your blood, you have a 90% risk reduction rate for cardiovascular death, heart attacks. Like, it's so important. If you're someone who borderline is high triglycerides, high homocysteine, high CRP, you have high cholesterol, and you're not taking omega-3, I question that logic of your doctor not giving you that recommendation. It's never your fault. Like, this isn't your field of study. Okay, but I question the logic when we know the research is out there. Okay, really, really important. Now, if you're getting through a diet, great, test. If you are, then you don't need any. I work with people who do eat sardines, who do eat trout, who eat wild salmon, who eat algae, who eat these things on a consistent basis, and they're good. They don't need it, but they test it, okay? But again, in terms of decreasing pulmonary, high blood pressure, brain-based issues, dementia, cardiovascular, omega-3s, yeah, it's fantastic. Joint pain. Number 4, these last ones, I'm kind of going back and forth. Like, those first 3 are huge. Number 4 is a probiotic. Your gut microbiota, it's so vitally important you keep that healthy as you age. We know that the diversity sometimes goes down as we age. We know that sometimes there can be more prolific bad bacteria, more E. coli, more other types of overgrowth. And yes, you can test that with stool testing. And yes, you can test it with the GPL omega-3 test that we recommend for the organic acid testing. So important, really, really great. So you can do that. But if you don't have a lot of bloating, you don't have gas, you don't have acid reflux, you don't have any of these things, and you feel pretty good overall, well, you might just decide to go with something like the daily probiotic support, which is going to give you 50 billion healthy strains that are dairy-free of good probiotics to help rebuild that gut. All right, really, really important as well. A lot of good research too between keeping a healthy weight, also brain-based cognition. Amazing research on that as well. I'll go more into that. I've already spoken about it on the past, so felt pretty comfortable just giving that recommendation. Number 5 is vitamin D3, okay? I'm telling you right now, if you're not taking vitamin D at least during the low sun months or during the the winter months, if you live above the Atlanta, Georgia line in the United States and of course across the world, if you're easy to remember, if you can't get a tan, it means you can't get enough vitamin D. Just really simple, straightforward, okay? No tan, no vitamin D. All right, why vitamin D? Regulates hormones. Helps with cholesterol production, normal cholesterol production, okay? Regulates inflammation, immune system balance, builds bone, builds up the metabolism. It's almost like magnesium. It does so many different things that if you're deficient in it, and deficient means if you're not between a 50 and 70 when you get your lab work done, and we'll link a vitamin D test in this as well, but if you're not between a 50 and 70, here's what it means, is that you're not optimal. So you're not optimally regulating hormones, immune system, bone function, metabolism, cholesterol, all of those things. That means it's not optimal. A 33, yes, it means you're not out of range on blood work, but it doesn't mean you're healthy. It just means you're out of range. I mean, you're not in a disease state. So why is it a little further down on my list? Here's the thing. Most good multis, most good all-in-one shakes are going to have vitamin D. But during the winter, you want to supplement with a little bit more, okay? And of course, lab test. At least go to your PCP MD once a year and request a full panel of blood work. Really important. Okay. Number 6 is a B complex once a day or a B12, folate, B6 if you're already using a multivitamin and mineral, okay? B complex, if you're stressed, low energy, use the whole thing. If you feel pretty good, you can just ramp it up with B12, folate, B6, of course, methylfolate, not folic acid. Why does this matter? Here's the thing: Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cognitive decline, dementia, heart disease, pulmonary function, inflammation, being able to detox, using the methylation process of your body. You need those B12. You need the B6. You need the methylfolate. It's just so important. Like, people don't even recognize that if their cholesterol isn't within proper range, if their homocysteine is high and they have inflammation in their arteries, they need more B12. They need more natural folate. They need that B6 as a almost like a cofactor and as an enzyme converter. So vitally important. Can't recommend that enough. Super, super important. And number 7, I wanted to add a 7, like this is at the bottom, but it's still super important. Something that helps to regulate the stress immune system. Why do we say stress immune? I'm going to get more into this. I'm going to get a little bit more in depth in the future. I think our audience, our community is now ready for this type of knowledge as well. Next level knowledge, as we'll call it. Meaning that when you're stressed, a lot of people don't recognize this, but it actually dysregulates, which means doesn't mean it shuts off your immune system completely. What it means is it downregulates certain parts of your immune system and upregulates others. Now, this is not good for autoimmune-based issues as we age. It's not good for rheumatoid arthritis. It's not good for a lot of stress-based disorders. So, herbs like ashwagandha, so important. Rhodiola, maca, holy basil, which is like literally in Ayurveda is like one of the longevity-based herbs. These things are absolutely really, really important, vital, I would say, as we age as well. Product I like right now, Integrative Therapeutics, HPA Adapt, really beautiful product, really nice, really good overall. I don't typically use it in the beginning. I use different products in the beginning to downregulate or upregulate the HPA axis. This means the adrenals. But this is one I kind of end with. It's a great one. I use it for travel. I use it for speaking. I use it, anytime I really feel that stress. Love it. Great product. Really great herbs. That's the whole thing. I've spoken about that in the past. So again, kind of our cursory overview today. So here's the thing. When we get right down to it, there's so much more you could use. Meaning like you could use glucosamine and chondroitin. You could use like all these other special things like I'm going to talk about in the future. Nicotinamide riboside, like such a powerful thing for anti-aging. And I'm experimenting with these things right now. Just know, like before you ever get the information, I've done years of experimentation with it, at least 6 months. You remember, before I recommended CBD oil on the Cabral concept, which is just an amazing product. People literally write in every single week with these success stories for themselves, their children, their parents. Amazing success stories. I used that myself for 6 months, combed through the clinical research, made sure it was going to be the right product for people, went to organic farms, went through to find a CO2 extracted process, looked at cold process, all of these different things to keep things before it ever got to you. And so I want you to know, like, there are things I'm doing right now, like 5 years from now, in my practice, you're going to hear anti-aging to the next level. But right now, it's not cost effective, which means like the supplement protocol that I'm using right now, it's not there yet. It's just too expensive, and so I want to like make this cost effective. But even still, the advanced protocol I'm talking about right now, you wouldn't even use until you're covering these basics. So I just want you to know that, like, these are the basics. You can get all of these things, all of this stuff covered for literally like $4 a day. Like, honestly, about $4 a day. And I just feel like everyone's worth that. And that I just know people are going to Starbucks and all these places and they're spending like $4.23 on a latte. Like they're spending the money. And I know nutritional supplements are expensive. And I know lab testing is expensive. I just feel like people are worth it. And that there's this cost benefit ratio. And if you spend money on yourself, a lot of times it's also a catalyst to do the work. So, and I honestly, it doesn't matter whether you're joining our community, whether you're doing it with me or not. Like, you could see a functional medicine practitioner who knows their stuff in your community. You could, go with whatever brand you feel comfortable with. But what I'm trying to say is that we've done the work for you and we want you to just get the best results. So if I were to stack all these together, and I talked about it in the beginning of the show, the 80-20 rule, my 20% of this would be this. Use the daily nutritional support shake. You get literally all of the multivitamin, all of the minerals, all of the protein, the electrolytes, and the B complex with a little bit of vitamin D in there, all in one. You just took care of your protein shake, your multivitamin, your mineral, your B complex, your B12, your folate, your B6, and your vitamin D. The only thing we literally did not cover was the omega-3, the probiotic, and the HPA Adapt. So you can decide to add those later if you wanted to, since the all-in-one shake is only $2 a day. I mean, I think, again, you can go with any all-in-one you want, or you can do a multi if you just don't like to do smoothies. I want you to make things easy on yourself, because I just seen 20 years in practice, consistency. That's what matters. It's not doing it for a month. It's not doing it for 2 months. Okay. The omega-3s, I'll link up all the products that I recommend there. The probiotic, if you did something like the Dr. Cabral Daily Protocol, which is what I do, that's the all-in-one. It's the 22 organic fruits and vegetables that are in a powder. And then it's the probiotic. I do that every morning. And that just covers my basis. And so I hope that this was helpful. Again, as always, I'm trying to strike the balance where I don't want to seem like I'm promoting anything, because I don't want people to think that that's what this show's all about. But it's promoting things that I believe in, that I know you're going to do a multi. I know you're going to do a shake anyway. So let's just get you on track with what you really need. And I honestly believe that it helps with output. I've just seen it in my practice. People come in 6 weeks later and things are just different in their life. The mood's different. The thinking is different. Their thinking's clearer. They're better with their kids. They're better with their spouse. They're better at work. And that to me, it's about maximizing life. And, to go back to the beginning, we all only get so many years. And I really believe that once you hit 35 or so, you just see that time moves quickly. And so I don't know how long any one of us will live. But what I say is that while we're on this earth, is that I want us to get the most out of the years that we do have. And I think that's so important, because I see people right now decrepit when they're 50, when they're 60 years old. And I don't care if they live till they're 90. That's not a great life. I want people to maximize every year that they do have and just feel alive. I mean, that's really what it's all about. So thank you for letting me share this with you today. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate all of your reviews on iTunes. Thank you very much for doing that. I read every single one. And thank you, as always, for sharing this show with anyone you believe it could help. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing, and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.